Hello, everybody. Things are not going as I'm planned. In fact, my face isn't even on here. What the hell is going on? What the hell? Oh my god, this is really a pain in the ass. Let's see if I can figure the hell this out. Anyway, hi, welcome to the show. I'll try to figure it out sometime along here. Everything's screwed up here. Not a good day. So anyway, hope you all are having a fine one. Happy Thursday. This is really frustrating, I gotta tell you. Anyway, I'll see you after the intro. Play the intro!
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
All right, so I have no idea what's going on with this crap. It's really starting to get on my frickin' nerves. Hello, I'm not in your... You can't see me. I'm John Cena. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. That invisible space there is your host, me, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Not being able to figure out why you can't see me because good old... Let's try it again. Ah, hello. Poof. That's me. Hello. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this Thursday, the 6th of April, 2023, birthday week, which, holy shit. So the last 3 days in a row, I've opened up Streamlabs, which is I do use Streamlabs OPS to, in fact, why is that even off? There, let's put me back in the middle. I use Streamlabs OBS to do my show. And for whatever reason, the last 3 days, it is, when I open it, it gives you that screen you get when you first download Streamlabs OBS. So all the settings, everything's gone. My production feed is all there, but everything else is like it's brand new. I go into the settings, all the settings are wrong. Like their default settings, which I don't use default settings because I have a different microphone, I have a different camera. I have everything's different, and this thing just is pissing me off. So if anyone else is using Streamlabs and you're having that problem, please let me know how you fixed it because it's driving me insane. Anyway, hello, nice to have you here. Boy, they're mad in Kansas. I got to tell you, and I'm going to look at a few different ways that they're presenting the story. God, and my computer is just slow as all get out. I might just have to restart my computer at some point. Not during the show, obviously today, but let's say good morning, everybody, and then we'll get into it. And also, and we have some birthday bucks. Thank you, Gunfox61. Dropping a Hamilton in the tip jar. Oh, and a story. But, this one did. Now, for some reason, it didn't give me the link to the story. It gave me the URL. Doesn't give me the link. Let me see if I can make that work. No, I can't even do that. Holy crap, Gunfox, put the link in the chat because Streamlabs is just killing me. But anyway, thank you for dropping the Hamilton in the jar, and Gunfox61, you are the new Streamlabs superstar, sponsor of the day. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Drop the link in the chat. I'll pull it up from there. So anyway, everything on my computer is going like crazy slow too. I'm not using that many resources right now. I have tabs open, but I don't have video going. Everything is, oh God, this has pissed me off. Thank you, Gunfox. I see it. Let's say good morning to everybody. Hopefully I can get this going. There it goes. Okay, what the... Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to talk about that today already, Gunfox. I appreciate it. In fact, I thank you because I didn't have a link open because I can't open anything right now. Anyway, let's say hi to everyone in the chat, and we're going to get going. First in the chat over in Rumble, Avocados Diablo gets the bell. Thank you, sir, for being here. Also, good morning to Tall Person, who also has dropped another spot, also sponsored the show this morning. Thank you, Tall Person, who says, Happy Fresh Tomato Day. I was going to ask, is there any other kind of tomato? But then I remembered, oh, yeah, there's canned tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, all kinds of other tomatoes. So fresh tomato. Happy Fresh Tomato Day to all of you from Tall Person and myself. Also, good morning, Man Squatch. Nice to see you over on Rumble. Jimmy Das Hotep's in the house. The One Who, formerly known as the One Who Tubes. Is that everybody over there? Oh, Sully209. Hey, I'm starting to see people over on Rumble a little more. What's that? The Kansas Bill HBR at 2238 is only 2 pages long. Now, wait, 2238. Is that the bill number? I thought it was SB 160 is the one that the legislature overrode the governor's veto. Let me see Kansas Bill 2238. Is that supposed to be the same bill? Let's see. Let's look that up. Kansas bill is that? Oh, it's House resolution. Is that the House version of the bill? Could be, even though everything on my computer is going painfully slow. I don't know. Anyway, thanks to everyone watching on Rumble Oh, here it is. Bill banning transgender in sports. HB 2238. Let's look at that. Is that the same one as is that the reconciliation of the Senate bill? Let's find out. The Fairness Women's Sports Act. And is this the same one? Is there any difference between it? Because it was vetoed, by the way. Is this the one that has been the veto overridden? Oh, this one's 3 pages. No, 2 pages. Yeah, 2238. Okay, I got it. Okay, thank you. Who gave me that? It's the same bill. All right, over on YouTube, first in chat is Avocados Diablo. Who gets the bell? Good morning, also Sydney Oberg. How you doing? Tall Person's in the house. Jestro Hetero Septus Wolf. Let's see. Lord Stanhope. Good morning. I said Jethro. Gunfox 61. The ever present and ever loyal. Ever loyal. That's what I was going to say. Ever loyal administrator of the P-Dog Night Discord server. Thank you for continuing to do that. Also, good morning, Simon Wolfwood. Dr. Funkenstein's Ghost, a.k.a. Tyrant Alexander. Neon Leon's in the house. Richo, my friend from down under. Excuse me, mate. It's nearly midnight morning. Good Friday here. I don't have time for your pre-videos. LOL. Well, that's just what I do there, brother. So I'm sorry if you don't like it. Just wait a few minutes and then jump in. Also, good morning, Rotten Corpse. What's happening? Lord Stanhope, I think I already said. Good morning. HB Lovecraft's in the house. Special K on Acid. What's happening? And that's everybody, isn't it? Oh, those ain't real, dude. Fake news expert. And I think that they're big. Oh, Gulf City, DC, a.k.a. Blink 182 is in the house. Nice to see you. And looks like I'm getting there. Unacceptable Views. Hi, what's up? And that's it. I hit the bottom. Finally, I've hit the bottom. And now I'm here. There we go. All right. Shall we get into this? Lots of transgender news today. It's every day there's something new. And the only reason what the fuck is going on with my computer? I'm gonna restart my computer. Not now, after the show, because I think there's something really going wrong here. And so I need a new processor too. I think I need to upgrade to an i11 because I'm at an I think I'm at an i5 right now, and I probably need to upgrade some of my RAM. Although I have 32 gigs of RAM. I shouldn't have any problem with this. 32 gigs of RAM and a GPU. I shouldn't be having any problems like this, but I am. Anyway, so I got oh good God. I got into this topic today because I saw a tweet by former Republican committee chairman Michael Steele. Former Republican committee chairman Michael Steele. I didn't send this out on Locals. I apologize to my Locals crew. I haven't done it for a couple of days. Like I said, I've been having trouble setting up the show anyway. Former Republican governor Michael Steele tweeted something that I thought, well, first of all, I had to think about it. I had to go, okay, is this actually something that is happening? Where the hell are my aces? There's ace. Move that over so I'm not there. I thought, what is this? Can't be true. It seems strange. And again, as I read it, my biggest question was the language that Michael Steele uses in this tweet is concerning, and I'll explain why as soon as I show it to you. So here it is. Mike Savage, blarg, see ya. And Chicago Mike, what's up? Nice to see you. Okay, so here's what Michael Steele wrote, and that's why I named the stream what I named it. I named the stream Genital Inspections, okay? Because Michael Steele tweeted this. It said, and then there are these MRFers. You know what that means. It's a whatever. Then there are these MFers. Genital inspections, ? Republican legislators are hell-bent on imposing one of the most dehumanizing, disrespectful, and violative things that could be done to a child because they could. Now, I personally think that anytime you do a disfigurement or interrupt the natural human growth process, I think that's fairly dehumanizing, disrespectful, and violative. But he's not talking about that. He's talking about the tweet he responded to, that from some apparently activist who says, breaking, Kansas Republicans have successfully overridden the governor veto and now authorize genital inspections of children in order for kids to play sports. A very dark and disturbing day. Hashtag KSLeg, as in Kansas legislature. Now, I decided, my first thought was, whoa. The Kansas, they have a law that authorizes genital inspections of children in order to kids to play sports. I think that requires a fact check. I think it requires a fact check because I'm curious. Because now here's my guess, and I responded to Governor Steele. How did I respond to Governor Steele? Well, let's go look at how I responded to former Governor Steele, former GOP Chairman Steele. Okay, and I said, I'm guessing that the language of the Kansas bill doesn't match the hyperbolic and hysterical language Michael has adopted from the activists here. It also sounds like Michael may be long overdue for a physical. Seems like he may have forgotten how they work. Because, no, we're not signing anybody up. Look, now, as a former athlete, and I say former because I really don't play any sports anymore because my body can't take it. But when I was a child and growing up, being an athlete in high school and in college, I remember very distinctly, especially in school sports, that you were required to get a physical, a physical that made it so you could play sports. And during that physical, if you know what I mean, right? So I'm pretty sure that during that physical, they were able to determine, that I had the property, equipment to play in sports that required me to play male sports rather than female sports. And that hasn't changed. When my kids were going through school and they had to play sports, they were also required to take a sports physical. Now, I know it's a little bit different for girls. They don't have this, fondle your nuggets and cough thing going on. But at some point during a physical, there is certainly confirmation that a student would be male or female. So I'm pretty sure the medical records would say already whether you are male or female. Now there's some question as to former iterations of this bill required, physical confirmation from a physician, which is what the activists are calling genital inspections, because that's the most inflammatory way they can describe a medical physical. Okay? That's a tactic of using language to make something as hyperbolic and as inflammatory as they possibly can, because I doubt it. And look, I very much doubt that the prior iteration of the bill said the words, quote, genital inspections of children. I'm pretty confident it never said anything like that, right? What is Brixa? I have no idea what that is, Richo. Anyway, I'm confident that that's not what the bill said nor intended. Okay? That some random person would be able to come out and inspect your genitals right there in front of the entire, team or whatever. That's not what it was. But that's how they want you to believe the bill was written. Now, let's look at how some certain news outlets have responded to this bill. First, we'll go to our favorite. This is CNN. We'll go to them first, okay? Here is the CNN tweet. And listen how I'm always interested in I like how they frame it, okay? The articles, because and I'm pretty sure that happens in all of them. Does anyone know what Rich was talking about? Oh, wait, Ghost, look up bricks. They will be number one by 24. Oh, okay, he's talking about some kind of sports thing. Okay, so here's their tweet. Transgender women and girls in Kansas will no longer be allowed to compete on sports teams from kindergarten. Wait a minute, what? Wait, listen to this. Oh, I see. Transgender women and girls would no longer be allowed to compete on sports teams from kindergarten through college consistent with their gender. Well, I hate to break this to you. This is CNN. But sports teams are not separated by gender. So what do you mean consistent with their gender? Sports teams are separated by sex. Okay? And that's the problem is, see, because everyone's trying to manipulate the language to make them feel better about whatever they think they are, right? Whether or not it's called women's sports or girls' sports, that's basically irrelevant, because back in the day when they decided to separate sports by sex, women and girls was synonymous with sex. Okay? Title IX says on the basis of sex. Now, again, they're trying to change Title IX to include a lot of other shit. But right now, it's still based on sex. So when they say women and girls sports, they're using the traditional, normal use of the words, not the new manipulated use of the words that doesn't have a definition. Okay? So we'll start there. This is CNN. Is stupid, and I need to stop this. This woman's got to get off my screen. Let's look at the article. Let's see how they write it, though, because there's something that I'm sure that most of these media outlets are going to do when I read this article, and I haven't even read this one, but I'm going to guess they do it. Let's see how they do it here. So, Kansas lawmaker. Oh, let me make it so you can see it. Pardon me. Let's fix that. There we go. Kansas lawmakers override governor's veto to enact anti-trans sports ban. Now, let's start with that. Notice they don't call it a pro-women's sports, sports rule, or because the name of the law it doesn't say it's anti-trans sports ban, and it's not a anti-trans sports ban, and it's not banning anyone from participating in sports. It just makes people of a sex, which apparently, because you all say sex and gender are a different thing, right? That's their rules. Their rules is sex and gender are not the same thing. Okay, fine. It's just like when you try to make you try to say that, well, if you're a lesbian, you should want to be with a trans woman because a trans woman is a woman. No. It's not homogenderal. It's homosexual. Okay? You can't change your sex. You can imitate what may be a traditional sex role or fashion or whatever, but you still don't change your sex. Even if you have the surgeries, it's simulated. It's not real. You call yourself a woman, I don't care. That in your rules, if you want to call yourself that, fine. I don't use the language that way, but if you want to, knock yourself out. But these sports are not separated by gender. Your rule's gender, because I still say gender and sex are synonymous. Gender is just a language, a language trick, whatever. It's a language oddity. Okay, we gender like inanimate objects. That's what originally gender meant. We used to call boats, ships, she or her. Okay, that's gendering an inanimate object. That's what gender was really originally, and then they started applying it in weird ways to people, starting with Judith Butler and all that shit. So anyway, let's read the article. Transgender women and girls in Kansas will no longer be allowed to compete on sports teams from kindergarten through college consistent with their gender after state lawmakers Wednesday overrode a veto from their governor to enact the restriction. Again, what does their gender have to do with playing on sports teams separated by sex? Well, see, because they want to play with the language, and that's why they've been able to do this. Okay, the law is set to take effect on July 1st. Governor Laura Kelly had vetoed Bill HB 2238. Okay, I see why you gave me 2238. There's a corresponding Senate Bill 160 that it's his same language. Okay, dubbed the quote. Now they put quotes on this. It's interesting. The Fairness in Women's Sports Act, end quote. Last month, marking the third time in 3 years she had rejected a transgender sports ban passed by the legislature. Of the latest effort, she said in her veto message, quote, "Let's be clear about that. This bill is all about..." What? Let's be clear about that. This bill is all about politics? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. She said, it won't increase any test scores. It won't help any kids read or write. It won't help any teachers prepare our kids for the real world. Here's what this bill would actually do. Harm the mental health of our students. What? There's already a mental health issue. And look, I don't know how Kansas is, because if you said this in a lot of states, like California, Governor Dickhead Newsom over there, kind of parrots the same kind of line. When the schools in California, for the most part, are failing, especially in Los Angeles, San Francisco. I mean, people can't read in California, and you're worried about teaching them about gender shit. And it won't harm the mental health of our students. Now, they make another argument. Oh, well, there's this many kids and there's only 11 transgender kids. You don't think it harms the mental health of students competing in sports, females who get beat by males who are allowed to participate in their sport when it's supposed to be a sport for females? You don't think that harms the mental health of students? But anyway, on Wednesday, Kansas Republican-controlled legislature voted overwhelmingly along party lines 84-40 in the House and 28-12 in the Senate to bypass the governor. The Fairness in Women's Act. They put this in quote too. This is a quote from somebody. The Fairness in Women's Act protects the rights of female athletes. Notice she said female sex athletes in the state by requiring that female student athletic teams only include members who are biologically female. Well, that's the only way you can be female, if sex and gender are different by their rules, okay? But they keep the thing is though, they keep wanting to they kind of keep wanting to blur those rules too now, because when we do make a distinction between sex and gender, well, this if they're on hormones long enough, it's more like being this sex too and whatever. And they emulate the sex, they look like this and that. That means nothing. That means nothing, people. Please stop it. Get some help. And then they say that's a quote by Speaker of the House Dan Hawkins and Majority Leader Chris Croft and Speaker Pro Tem Blake Carpenter said in a joint statement. Now, okay, they didn't do what I thought was happen. I thought they were gonna, because usually what happens is they allow the activists who are against this have the biggest part of the article. And we'll see. I mean, usually they come first too. There's no joke intended there. Advocates of such measures have argued that transgender women and girls have physical advantages over, I want to say just the regular women, but I'm going to read what they wrote. Have physical advantages over cisgendered women and girls in sports. No, advocates of such measures would never say that. They would not use the term cisgendered, because that's, first of all, using cis over a gender term is actually improbable and it's an awkward use of a scientific term that doesn't really fit what they're trying to do. But I see what they're trying to do. Wait a minute! This is incredible. This is incredible. So they say, okay, so they're going to put a 2017 report. We're going to check out this report. But a 2017 report. So they're going to do, CNN tells you what the proponents of the article of this bill say, and CNN, the person at CNN decides to refute it. Jack Forrest is going to refute it in the next sentence. But a 2017 report in the Journal of Sports Medicine that reviewed several related studies found no direct or consistent research on trans people having an athletic advantage over their cisgender peers. And critics say, so they are giving voice to the critics immediately. They immediately give voice to the critics. Critics say this legislation adds to the discrimination that trans people face, particularly trans youth. So you don't want to be fair to non-trans youth. You just want to have equity run. Immediately, okay, a single 2017 report in the Journal of Sports Medicine. I'm going to read this again because there's something interesting that they should be concerned about. A 2017 report in the Journal of Sports Medicine that reviewed several related studies found no direct or consistent research on trans people having an athletic advantage. Well, if there's no direct or consistent research on them having an athletic advantage, shouldn't you do the research first before you allow them to compete? I would think you would, because there absolutely is tons of direct evidence and research that male bodies have an absolute athletic advantage over non-male bodies, over female bodies, when it comes to sports and so on and so forth. There's absolutely just an immense amount of data and research that you can find all over the world. And there's no doubt that when you get into competition between men and women after the age of about 13, once they all go through puberty, males have a distinct advantage. It is so cut and dry, it's unbelievable. Very few, rare exceptions in certain a couple activities. Extremely rare. Okay, there's mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence. So if you're going to say this report, there's no direct or consistent research on trans people having an athletic advantage over cisgender peers, but that means there's no direct or consistent research on any at all, period. So maybe you should do the research, and how would you do it? I'm not sure, because there's not a way, there's not a lot of data there, but certainly there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, but so then you can't go from trans versus non-trans people. You would have to go whether there's a consistent or direct evidence of males having advantage over females. And that is non-disputable, period. Not at all. Not in dispute in any such way. Next line, Democratic State Representative Heather Meyer, who has been outspoken against the measure, told CNN this bill will affect families like hers. Why? We love our kids and we want the best for them, and part of that includes sporting activities. You're not being restricted from sporting activities. You would just have to, if you have a trans girl, aka male identified trans person, they're female, so they participate in female sports. And there's got to be some reality somewhere that makes someone in the trans community understand that despite their self-identification, that they are, from a sex standpoint, because remember, gender and sex are different, that they are opposite of what they claim to be from a gender standpoint, from sex standpoint. Is there any sense of reality that you can point out regarding that? We love our kids and want what's best for them, like everybody does. And look, so should we make exceptions for your kids and take away things from other kids because you want it? And a part of that includes the sporting activities, and this is just another in a long line of anti-trans youth bills that is spreading across the country like wildfire. Well, you're pushing something on people that they don't want. Why do you hate democracy? I'm sure you're one of those people who talk about democracy all the time, right? This is kind of how democracy works. I know you hate it, and I'm not a fan of just all-out mob rule democracy, because, again, democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. But you love democracy. Now, Casey Pick, Director of Law and Policy at the Trevor Project, which is they say what it is, a suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization for LGBTQ youth, argued in a statement that the bill isn't about fairness. Isn't it? Why isn't it about fairness? Because it doesn't work. It doesn't go in the way you want it. Help me understand why it's not about fairness. By the way, thank you, Chicago Mike, dropping a 20 in the tip jar. That's a birthday bucks. Thank you, Chicago Mike. And Chicago Mike, you are the new Streamlab Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. Who says, I'm confused. Whose mental health are we trying to protect? Transgender mental health or women's mental health? Also, happy belated. Well, thank you very much, Chicago Mike. Greatly appreciate it. That's awesome. So anyway, and then they go on. And then this harmful and unnecessary bill has nothing to do with fairness in sports and everything to do with lawmakers' efforts to push trans young people to the sidelines in hopes of scoring political points. I think it because it's become an issue across the country, And so, unfortunately, because you have no common sense, they have to write bills like this. And I wish it wasn't necessary. I wish that sports organizations would just figure that out. It's not fair to women to allow males, or women and girls, to allow males to participate in their sports. The restrictive bill, again, listen to the language, joins others being pushed by Republicans across the country targeting LGBTQ rights. No. This has, no. It's targeting an aspect of the trans rights that we're dealing with a lot more now, because this has been pushed on youth for the last 10 or so years very heavily. And so we're seeing, we have to figure out how to make it work with all these people self-identifying as trans something, whether it be trans something or non-binary or wolf gender or whatever you come up with. Okay. You come up, especially all these people. What about these people who say they're non-binary, or they're some kind of animal gender, or they're pickle gender, or they're, tin can gender? Right? When it comes to sports, what category would they compete in? Well, you don't have your gender really shouldn't be a factor, because we don't have a category for tin can gender. So we're going to put the tin can gender in the sports activity of whatever sex they are, because the sex doesn't change regardless of what you call yourself from the gender standpoint. That's how it works. And sorry if it hurts your feelings and sensibilities, but there's got to be a objective criteria to decide where you should be categorized. And right now, that criteria, which it has always been since the beginning of, the advent of popular women's sports, has always been sex, not what you identify as. So, most tend to identify the same as their sex. So, last week, and they go on, last week, Kentucky's legislature overrode its Democratic governor's veto of a bill that places bans on gender-affirming care for minors. No, it's gender-denying harm for minors. On discussions of sexual orientation and gender identity in school, and on transgender students using bathrooms that align with their gender identity. Again, bathrooms are, regardless of the fact that they say girls, boys bathrooms, they're still designed based on sex, because, girls generally don't pee standing up. But, again, you like democracy unless it doesn't go in your favor. The move comes after state lawmakers last year overrode another veto by the governor to enact its own anti-trans sports ban. No, it's not anti-trans. It's just telling trans people, okay, if you are this sex, your transness doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because you're competing against other males or other females. Well, the other thing in this Kansas bill, which we'll get to in a second, it applies to sports for females. Co-ed and girls sports do allow transgender boys who identify as transgender, girls who identify as transgender boys. Okay, females. See, I'm trying to be kind and use the language they want me to use as much as I can. Doesn't compute, because I already have a language and a dialect I use that doesn't speak that way. So I'm trying to speak their language. I'm learning their language. All right, so that's how CNN treated it. Real quick. So we're gonna move on here. Let's see, what is this? Oh, this is the study. The National Institute of Health, National Library of Medicine, student sport Here, I'm going to put this on real quick because we'll just brief on this. Sports and Transgender People, a systematic review of the literature relating to sports participation and competitive sports policies. Now, what's interesting on this, there isn't a ton of research on this. And usually when they've done research on this, a lot of it's been like, you know how push polling works, where they try to poll you, but they try to get the result that they want. It's kind of like that, how it happens with research on transgender issues. Most of the so-called studies either have such a tiny sample size. Like there's one study that used to be referred to all the time on distance running. This scientist in Washington was doing a study on transgenders in distance running, right? And this person only had 7 subjects in the study. 7 subjects, and tried to make a conclusion out of 7 subjects. But what's interesting too is talking about how male to female transgender runners, how their performance got worse after they went on hormones or whatever. But the runners she was using also were in their 40s and 50s. For the most part, but there was one that was a younger class runner, but showing that their performance had gotten worse, right? But even then, their average performance for that category was still higher than normal women. And I say normal women because I'm not cisgender, just it doesn't flow out of my tongue very often. So I mean, most of these studies are very much push polls, but then when there are studies that disprove what they're trying to say, they disregard them. They don't even use them. So this particular one, let's see. So this is a study called Sports and Transgender People, a systematic review of the literature. So this is a study of studies. Background: whether transgender people should be able to compete in sport in accordance with their gender identity as opposed to their sex is a widely contested question within literature and amongst sports organizations, fellow competitors, and spectators. Now remember, a lot of these big world organizations have gone to not allowing trans women, males who identify as women, to participate in women's sex sports. Okay, they are going back to the sex segregated sports. Owing concerns surrounding transgender people, especially transgender female individuals, having the athletic advantage, several sports organizations place restrictions on transgender competitors, e.g. must have undergone gender-confirming surgery. Oh, no, they don't even allow that anymore. They say if you've gone through male puberty, you cannot participate in the sport in the female category. You have to go back to the male category. In addition, some transgender people who engage in sport, both competitively and for leisure, report discrimination and victimization. Now, for leisure sports, I'm not sure what you mean. You mean like a community volleyball league? Well, I'm pretty sure that the women in the community volleyball league probably don't want males in their league either. Do you care about, we're always supposed to care about your feelings. Do you ever care about their feelings? Or should we disregard their feelings for your mental health? Hi, Renee Mayette. Nice to see you. And Zablay's in the house. Nice. Zablay. Long time no see. Well, not a long time. You've been around a little more lately. And hi, Aaron Meredith, too. So, in addition, some transgender people engage in sport. Okay, I already said that. Objective: the author's knowledge. There has been to the author's knowledge, there has been no systematic review of the literature pertaining to sport participation or competitive sport policies in transgender people. Therefore, this review aimed to address that gap in the literature. Well, that's interesting that there's no systematic review of the literature. Well, there hasn't been a whole lot of science on it either, because I think they know what the results of the science is, and that kind of science doesn't get funded if it doesn't give you the result that you want. Anyway, so this person's method, a total of 8 research articles and 31 sports policies review. The result, in relation to sports-related physical activity, this review of the 8 articles and 31 sports policies. This review of that found the lack of inclusive and comfortable environments to be the primary barrier to participation for transgender people. Now, what the actual fuck does that mean? Found the lack of inclusive and comfortable environments to be the primary barrier to participation for transgender people. This review also found transgender people had mostly negative experience in competitive sports because of the restrictions the sports policy placed on them. Oh, so it hurt their feelings that they made rules for them. That's basically what I'm interpreting. The majority of transgender competitive sports policies that were reviewed were not evidence-based. Are you really? Again, you have to determine what evidence is. It depends on what your definition of evidence is. It depends on what your definition of is. Jesus. So their conclusion. The conclusion is currently there are no direct or consistent research. No consistent research. Well, maybe you should wait until there is consistent research suggesting transgender female individuals or male individuals. Wait, what's a transgender female individual? So, see, they're breaking their own rules in the language. Female is sex. Women and girls is gender by their rules. Or male individuals have an athletic advantage at any stage of their transition. E.g. cross-sex hormones and gender-confirming surgery. And therefore, competitive sports policies that place restrictions on transgender people need to be considered and potentially revised. Well, that's a conclusive study. Wow, that's cut and dry. They need to be considered and potentially revised. Based on what? What? Holy shit, that is some word salad. So, in other words, this research on 8 research articles and 13 sport policies basically was inconclusive. Very good. Very well done. You 4 or 5 people who are talking out of your buttholes. All right. Anyway, now we're going to look a little bit at some of the other articles on this because there are certain things. I'm going to move. Where's Jordan Henry? Let's move him to the end over here. I got to get to Gunfox's article too. I promise I will do that today, Gunfox. Okay, so we already saw Michael Steele. And there's a lot of other reactions. Like there's someone here, someone named Dr. Dana something. What the hell's her name? Let's look at this one. Dr. Dana. Oh, no, this is Davis Hammett. Kansas Republicans. Oh, this is the guy who's referring to when he said that Kansas Republicans have successfully overridden the veto to now authorize genital inspections of children. Remember those words, because that's the inflammatory, hyperbolic, hysterical language they're using against this bill. Well, let's look at the bill itself, because here it is. And there's 2 versions, the Senate version and the House version. Here's it's the same language because they reconciled the bill. So I'll read this to you. And let me see if you can see the words requiring genital inspections of children. Okay. SB 160 creates the Fairness of Women in Sports Act and requires interscholastic, collegiate, intramural, and club athletic teams or sports that are sponsored by public education institutions to be designated based on biological sex. Now, sex. Again, y'all want to distinguish between sex and gender based on biological sex. The bill requires all interscholastic, intercollegiate, intramural, and club athletic teams that are sponsored by public elementary, secondary, or post-secondary institutions that compete against teams from other public educational institutions to be expressly designated as one of the following based on the biological sex of the team members: males, men, or boys, female, women, or girls, or co-ed and mixed. The bill states that athletic teams and sports designated for females, women, and girls or girls shall not be open to students of the male sex. We're not talking about gender, we're talking about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Stop it. Don't do it. Note, the bill does not exclude students of the female sex from participating on athletic teams designated for males, men, or boys. Oh, now they could get they get equal protection. I don't know. That might be the only problem with the bill. The bill requires that the Kansas State High School Activities Association, the Kansas Board of Regents, and the governing bodies for municipal universities, community colleges, and technical colleges adopt rules and regulations for the implementation of the designation of their athletic teams. The bill prohibits governmental entities, licensing organizations, accrediting organizations, or athletic associations or organizations from taking the following actions against public educational institutions that maintain separate teams for students of the female sex. Prohibits them from entering a complaint, opening an investigation, or taking other adverse actions. I don't even know what that means. Now, basically, they can't. I don't know what that means. Why they prohibits government entities from entering a complaint, opening an investigation, or taking adverse actions against this bill, I guess. And then resolving violations. In the event of a violation of the act, the bill allows the following individuals and organizations to file civil suit and seek relief in the form of monetary damages, reasonable attorney fees, and other appropriate relief. Any student deprived of an athletic opportunity or who suffers direct or indirect harm by violation of the act. So if they let a male identifying, who identifies as trans play against females, a student may bring, file a civil suit. Also, any student subjected to retaliation or other adverse action by a public educational institution or athletic association for reporting a violation of the act. So if they can't, a whistleblower who's retaliated against by any organization or whatever group can file a suit. And any public education institution that suffers direct or indirect harm as a result of a violation of the act. So if one school, just going to the state championship and they end up playing against a team with, a transgender kid that dominates the game, whatever, they can file a civil suit against the whatever. So anyway, the bill requires all civil actions to be initiated no later than 2 years after the harm occurred. No later. Okay, so it has a 2-year statute of limitations. The bill declares all sections of the act to be severable in the event one or more sections are determined to be invalid. So that it has a court issue. Now, if you want to read the longer version of the bill, it's also be in the links today. But I guarantee you, nowhere in this bill, not anywhere in the bill, do the words genital inspections for children show up. Now they claim, and this might be the when the governor vetoed it, that's what this is. So the governor vetoed it. Here's how the governor vetoed it wrote. She wrote, both Republicans and Democratic governors have joined me in vetoing similar divisive bills for the same reason. It's harmful to students and their families, and it's bad for business. We all want a fair and safe place for our kids to play and compete. However, this bill didn't come from the experts at our schools, our athletes, or the Kansas State High School Activities Association. It came from politicians trying to score political votes. Well, do you think any of their constituents support this? I mean, whether it's politics or not, do their constituents want this? Do they want to be able to have, what are you asking me to settle down for? Richard, what are you talking about? What are you, Richard? I haven't even paying attention to the chat, and you're over here yakking at me. What are you asking me here? Anyway, yeah, right, AD. No, none of those other people write bills. That's the point. I'm supposed to be writing a bill. Anyway, and then she says this bill would also undoubtedly harm our ability to attract and retain businesses. Why? Wait, what? No, no. Oh, good Lord. I'm sure that the businesses that are based in Kansas aren't leaving Kansas because of a transgender sports bill. I really doubt it. It would send a signal to prospective companies that Kansas is more focused on unnecessary and divisive legislation than strategic pro-growth lawmaking. Really? You don't think they can walk and chew gum? You don't think they can walk and chew gum? Is this the only bill that the Kansas Senate is going to pass all year? I doubt it. Anyway, but that's just, they try to act like they're so business friendly. All right, other places talking about this. This is the Kansas City Star. Kansas bans transgender athletes from women's sports as the legislature overrides Kelly's veto. And they put this, by the way, I apologize for my thumbnail where I use the words genital inspections and then put a picture of this because it's ain't nobody expected those genitals, including herself, for centuries. Anyway, when Kansas high school and colleges return for the fall semester, transgender athletes will no longer be eligible to compete in girls and women's sports. Oh no, that's false. Transgender athletes will be eligible to compete in girls and women's sports. It's just the females who are transgender boys. That's that. See, you got that wrong even there. Kansas House and Senate voted to override Democratic Governor Laura Kelly's third veto of a bill banning anyone who was assigned male at birth. Assigned male. No! Stop using that phrase! You're not assigned as male. Male is sex. You are born a sex. It is not assigned. It is observed. Stop using that stupid terminology. From competing in girls and women's sports. In a major defeat for Kelly and the LGBTQ rights movement, I don't think the LG and the B probably are mixed on this, I would guess. The House voted 84-40 and the Senate voted 28-12 Wednesday to override the governor's veto. And then LGBTQ activists get the most ink on this because that's the way these media outlets work. LGBTQ activists have called the bill a discriminatory act and targets vulnerable youth, while supporters say it ensures fairness. Daphne Cornelius, a Wichita transgender woman, said the supposed advantages she would gain because she was born with male genitalia is eliminated by hormone therapy. Now, there is research on that, and that is false. It's absolutely false. Just because you go into hormone therapy doesn't change your bone structure, your muscle mass. It slightly diminishes capacities, but not below what an average female's capacities would be. Or so no, it diminishes it some, but the other thing about that too. Oh, so the kind of the purpose of sports is to encourage peak performance in individuals, right? You're trying to get to the very best the peak performance that you can get to, except when you want to be a male competing in women's sports, you're trying to diminish your peak capacity so that you can participate in women's sports. Make that make sense. It doesn't make sense. Hey, Tales of Gore, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Also, Kessler, too. What's up? So anyway, we're not here to take over the world, she said. We just want to live our lives no different than you do. Well, then live your life. That's fine. No one's saying you can't live your life. That has nothing to do with whether or not males should be able to participate in a sex category that's not them. The vote represented a major win for House and Senate GOP leaders who have sought to pass the policy since 2021 and have been unable to overcome Kelly's veto until now. At the event in Johnson County Wednesday afternoon, Kelly told reporters the vote override, "It breaks my heart." One House Democrat, Representative Marvin Robinson from Kansas City, voted yes. Oh, and he's getting just destroyed in the media and on social media. He's a traitor, and he's this and that, blah, 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 blah. The House Democrat, Reverend Marvin Johnson from Kansas City, voted yes with Republicans in overriding the governor's veto. Quote, "I know that there are legislators on both sides of the aisle for whom this was sort of a morals values vote, and I think they voted against their own moral code and values, and I think that going to be very tough for them in the long term," Kelly said when asked about Robinson's votes. Oh, so because he disagrees with you, he voted against his own moral code and values. Really? Because he didn't agree with you. Interesting. Robinson, who originally voted no on the bill in February, told reporters he had hoped for some middle ground on the issue and was off-put by the aggression from some of those seeking him to convince him to retain his known vote. Oh, I'm sure. Again, he's persona non grata now in Kansas, from Democrats at least. "It was all or none," Robinson said. "Then they started getting really rude and insulting and attacking and threatening to take me out. And my God, what do you do?" Yeah, how about that? See, don't disagree with the Ku Klux Trans. Sorry, you can't do it. I stole that from Jericho Green, by the way. That's not original. I stole it from Jericho Green. I fully admit it. Anyway, oh my gosh, this just goes on. But this article just goes on and on all the people who are against it. It's all, the whole rest of the article is are people who are against it. And then they probably, except for a couple of lines about the dumbest, some of the dumbest people who are for it, like the dumbest reasons to be for it. But anyway, so obviously, and it happens in every article though. I'm looking at this one from Fox 4 in Kansas City, which just because it's Fox doesn't mean it's on the right. They mentioned the bill down here. I'm not going to go in that one. This is KMBC, which is the ABC affiliate in Kansas City. Kansas House Senate override Governor Kelly's veto. After they get to the main, they did this, whatever. The first line of anyone reacting to it: "It breaks my heart. It certainly is disappointed. I know." Same quote from Governor Kelly. But lawmakers like Republican State Representative Barbara Wassinger says the bill is about fairness in women's sports, specifically girls' youth athletics. And then they put this line down here at the bottom. There are 109, or they don't have it could be 109. It says they put the comma in the wrong place. There are 10,900 students registered with the State High School Activities Association. 11 of them were transgender. Okay. And then while 2 Republican legislators opposed the measure, one Kansas City, Kansas Democrat, Marvin Robinson, Kansas City, Kansas City, Kansas, cast a decisive vote supporting the bill. So he's going to get run out of town. I guarantee it. I've looked at several articles on this. We'll watch one news report on it and see how they do. Oh, wait, here's their news report. Let's see their news report. It's very short.
Breaking news, transgender athletes will soon be banned from playing in women's sports in Kansas schools. House and Senate members have voted to override Governor Kelly's veto of the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. House Bill 2238 requires all school athletic teams be designated boys, girls, or co-ed. Transgender students will not be allowed to play on girls' teams. This all takes effect July 1st.
Transgender males who identify as female, male sex, will not be allowed to play teams. Because if it's a girl who says they're transgender, they will still be able to play on a girl's team or a boy's team. They get to choose. They get, as usual, women get more choices. So there you go.
Attorney General Chris Kobach says his office is ready to respond to any legal challenge.
Right.
Okay, so they're gonna try to. They're expecting legal challenges, but the Attorney General is ready to fight that. Let's see how this K-12 in Kansas. I don't know what city, but this is
lawmakers overriding Governor Laura Kelly's veto on a bill that targets transgender athletes.
Jacob Albrock joins us in the newsroom with details on that new law, plus reaction from supporters and opponents. Jacob?
Rachel, Mike, after 3 consecutive sessions of trying to get the bill to become law, Kansas lawmakers successfully overrode Governor Kelly's veto today of the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. The bill restricts transgender athletes to compete on teams based on their biological sex, though the focus of lawmakers was requiring female athletic teams to only include members who are biologically female. This applies to school teams and club sports sponsored by K through 12 schools, as well as colleges. The ACLU of Kansas claims the law was never about protecting women's.
Notice that right off the bat. Who did they quote first? People who are against it.
Sports, but harassing and discriminating against a small group of people. They also warn this will open up the state's women and girls to, quote, potentially invasive examinations just to be able to participate.
Oh, you mean like a medical checkup? What do you mean? Open up all girls and women to potentially invasive examinations. So they've never had a physical before? I'm curious. And also, so you're saying that none of these girls have been to the doctor before? That's anyway. And that's where they come up with the gender, what do they call it? Gender what? What's the name of the stream? Whatever.
Paid in sports.
Oh, genital examinations or genital inspections. That's the language they use, right? Genital inspections of children. That sounds really, really bad, doesn't it? Oh, wait. You mean they had the checkup with their doctor? Yeah, gotcha.
Makers, as well as Attorney General Chris Kobach, says the new law simply protects the rights of female athletes. Kobach adds he'll defend the law from any legal challenges. Last night, the Kansas legislature passed a separate bill that would provide a legal definition.
A legal definition of what?
Biological sex. Opponents say it would restrict transgender people to enter some public spaces. Rachel?
Okay, so that's them, and then I have one last one. I think I don't know if there's a report, but they also. Oh, this one didn't really. This one actually. This is what is this? Kansas City TV 5, which is a CBS affiliate. They actually quoted supporters first. Supporters say biological males have a physical advantage over biological females, giving them an unfair edge in competition. But critics say that the bill discriminates against transgender students, leading to bullying and mental health issues. No, it won't even change anything. What are you talking about? They already have mental health issues. That's why they're transgender. That's a mental health issue, okay? And I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying it's a mental health issue. Stop it. Stop it. You guys are stupid. All right, now let's get to Gun Fox's article because I have a few other things like Human Rights Campaign is talking about it. They have a little video called Let Us Play, which is there's no one stopping kids from playing sports. They just have to play sports within their own sexual category, right? And then I'll get to Colorado in a minute. There's a few more, but let's go to Gun Fox's article first. This fresh hell that he showed me, that's all over the internet. Bud Light, you remember Bud Light partnered with trans influencer and defended its effort. Oh wait, what? Okay. Oh my God, how much makeup is this kid wearing? Holy shit. Anyway, here's what Gun Fox wants me to read. Bud Light partnered with a trans influencer and defended its effort to authentically connect with diverse groups of people after anti-trans backlash. Now, it wasn't an anti-trans backlash. It was an anti-Bud Light backlash because they have this knucklehead being a what do they call it? Being a kind of a spokesperson for Bud Light or something. They sent him a can with his own face on it. Now, they didn't make Bud Light cans with Dylan Mulvaney on the can. They sent somebody at Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch sent him his own special Bud Light can, right? So anyway, it doesn't seem like this article is going anywhere. I don't know why. It's not, here we go. A brand deal between Anheuser-Busch and transgender actor, key word, actor, and TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney was met with an anti-trans backlash. But the beer company said it will continue to try to reach diverse groups of people. Why? You know, it's funny. I don't think I've had a Bud Light. It's been well over 20 years, at least. Because I don't like Bud Light. I never have. I don't like light beer. I just don't drink light beer. Anyway, Mulvaney, who has over 10 million followers on TikTok, posted on Instagram video on April 1st in which she drinks a Bud Light and reveals a customer beer can with her face on it. In the video, the 26-year-old influencer promotes the company's March Madness contest with a $15,000 prize while dressed as Audrey Hepburn's character, Holly Golightly from Breakfast at Tiffany's. The caption identifies her as a hashtag Bud Light partner. Yippee! Yippee! Actually, she's a clown. He's a clown. Whatever. She then shares that she has celebrated 365 days of womanhood. Yay! Which he has been documenting in a TikTok series. On her social media platforms, she also sings, makes fashion content, and promotes other companies like Olay, EOS, and Netflix. Yay! I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out that it has something to do with sports. She jokes in the video. I'm not exactly sure which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate. Yeah, okay, so Mulvaney described the can as possibly the best gift ever. The comedic promotional video prompted anti-trans outrage across right-wing media. And also from the musician Kid Rock. On Monday, the singer reveals a video of him shooting multiple Bud Light cans while wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible, he says, before firing at 4 packs of cans with a rifle and proceeding to flip off the camera. F Bud Light, F Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day. So anyway, now it's not, oh gosh, do we have to keep looking at him? God. Yes. She's a guy. Anyway, now, on another note, thank you, Gunfox, for forcing me to acknowledge that fresh hell. There's also too, where is it? Let me find this here because it's all over the place. Here, let's go. Why isn't this, God, my thing is working. Let's see. Nike was trending this morning, and that's because Dylan Mulvaney is also now a spokesperson for Nike. So this person who successfully conned everybody on the planet, okay. Yeah, here's this picture. Just dude it. Just dude it. Let's talk about Nike, a brand that treats men like Dylan Mulvaney that pretend to be women better than it treats women. In 2018, Nike brand ambassador and model and 10-time Olympic gold medalist Alex Felix got pregnant. Nike then offered her 70% less pay than her original contract. I think it's going to say here. Why is my scrolling not working? That's really weird. Oh, there we go. 70% than her original contract with the brand and gave her no guarantees of paying her if her performances as a brand ambassador declined during her pregnancy and gave her no maternity protections. Instead of being treated so unfairly, Allison left Nike and 2 years later launched her own incredibly successful women's brand, Athleta. But now they've made Dylan Mulvaney a spokesperson for Nike. Now, Bricksuit, who's a big Trump supporter, does make a good point here, though. At least Nike knows Dylan Mulvaney won't get pregnant. So anyway, now this person, Oli London, has been on a bit of a tear regarding Dylan Mulvaney and a list of products that suddenly this person who pretends to be male or female, is sponsored by. Where's the list here? There was he was on all kinds of. He had a whole list here somewhere. Hang on, we'll just scroll down. Oh, here we go. Here, so he wrote, a man who has made a career out of mocking women, and Dylan does mock women. It's a mockery. It totally is. This whole 365 days, saying that, the whole thing with the tampons, because Tampax also sponsors Dylan Mulvaney, as does Ulta, the makeup company. And, well, here's the list. Nike Women, Bud Light, Ole Henriksen, Plaza Hotel, MAC, Ulta Beauty, Tampax. Now, that's the one that's crazy. A tampon company has Dylan Mulvaney as a spokesperson. What, is he going to do it to sop up his diarrhea? How's that fucking work? Use it for nosebleeds, Tampax it does. Actually, tampons are really good if you have a nosebleed. Okay, you just tear off a section of it and you stick it in your nose, and it's really good. So anyway, Crest, Kate Spade, OkCupid, Svedna Vodka, Urban Decay, Walmart, Mugler, Rent the Runway, Aritzia, and Charlotte Tilbury. I don't know what half those companies are, but many of these brands target women, and many of these products Dylan advertises, like the Nike sports bra and Tampax, are for women. Women, like female, sex, people with breasticles. Because if you get fake breasts, they stand up on their own. You don't need a bra. How do I know that? I don't know. Hello, Blue-Eyed Scream, by the way. So anyway, this not only makes a mockery of women, it shows Dylan's young followers that if you mock women, you get rewarded with fame and fortune. And that's the one societal problem that I have with the constant promotion of Dylan Mulvaney. That's why I don't talk about that nutcase very often, because his mockery has become he's a marketing genius as far as I'm concerned, because right now you cannot, in theory, make fun of him for being pretending, having this whole girl thing, right? So it's just crazy. I'm telling you. So anyway, that's why Nike has kind of been trending at least part of the day. All right. I have some other things in here. Let me just check if I have any quick shots before I get out of here. There's a good thread here. What is this? I've got so many copies of this stupid bill open because I've been trying to read it to see if there's any differences in some of the other iterations of it. But I also have a few quick hits here. Here we go. And it's all on this kind of topic today. For some reason, these all popped up today. In Colorado's poised to become a haven for youth gender reassignment surgeries. Well, I don't know if they'll do as well as Minnesota, but Colorado Democrats over the weekend advanced a bill co-sponsored by a transgender representative that would make their state a safe haven for teenagers seeking sex changes. Oh, yippee. The Colorado House of Representatives on Saturday passed Bill SB 188, which would require the state's courts and medical licensing boards to protect doctors who dispense hormones and perform sex change surgeries on teens from states that restrict those surgeries. So come on down. We're going to cut you up in Colorado. as well as those who provide abortions. The bill, which was co-sponsored by Representative Brianna Titone, whatever, Democrat, who identifies as transgender, so this male right here, was approved alongside two pieces of legislation that would expand abortion access in the state. So they've been disguising these the transgender parts of these bills by putting them on abortion bills. So you kind of have to vote for both if you're for abortion, right? And that's what they did in Michigan. In Minnesota, they did it straight up California style and just had a separate bill. But that's how they're disguising them in some of these other states. Colorado is the latest blue state whose legislators have moved to enshrine protections to controversial medical procedures. Oregon Democrats last month passed a package designed to make their state a haven for people seeking sex changes and abortions, and Minnesota passed similar legislation. California lawmakers have advanced a number of similar bills, including one bill that would allow children to check into group homes if their parents do not support their gender identity. So they literally are allowing kids to take themselves away from their parents. Children, and the age limit I think in California was like 9 or something. It's ridiculous, as if parents have no rights to their children, basically, is what they're saying in California. If you don't do everything your kids want you to do. Now imagine if your child came up to you at 9 years old and said they wanted to get a full back tattoo of Barney the dinosaur, right? Because they're not quite old enough to not be cool to like Barney anymore. And you let's say the legislature said you have to allow your child to make decisions for themselves that are permanent or would require some sort of medical medical treatment in the future to reverse it, because you can't reverse it, right? Oh no, the legislature would never allow that for a giant back tattoo of Barney. And even if the kid can also see a kid 9 years old, okay, you got a back tattoo of Barney, but they wouldn't be able to, like when they were 12, everyone would make fun of them for it. Oh my, right? But you're letting a child make a permanent medical decision that makes you a medical patient for the rest of your life at like 12 years old. Oh, we're gonna give you some puberty blockers at 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever. We're gonna give you some puberty blockers, right? That stunt your growth. Of course, you don't understand that because they don't tell you the side effects of these puberty blockers. That'll stunt your growth. That'll stop your sexual development and everything. Everything's smaller or whatever for the rest of your life. But at 12, the doctors don't tell you that this is something permanent that you have to deal with the rest of your life, because they have no concept of the rest of their life. Just like the kid with the Barney tattoo at 9 doesn't realize that all the kids are going to make fun of him when he's 12, because they don't think that far ahead. Their brains are not that developed. Stupid people. Anyway, so then let's see. The bill, which passed on party lines, was advanced late Saturday after 29 hours of contentious debate. Before passing the measure, House lawmakers added an amendment stating that the state's definition of reproductive health care includes sex change procedures and sterilization. So that was an amendment to include sex change procedures and sterilization. This would ensure the legislation legislation applies for minors under 19, according to the Colorado Catholic Conference Executive Director Brittany Vesely. During the debate, Titone scolded a Republican colleague who questioned the safety of child sex changes. You cannot question the safety of child sex changes, saying he lacked empathy and claimed no one would choose to change genders voluntarily. Really? I've seen stories of entire classes of 12-year-old girls say they were all transgender at the same time. You don't think that's a voluntary thing? You don't think the fact that transgenders are the most celebrated people in popular culture right now? Dylan Mulvaney, you don't think there's people out there who want to be like Dylan Mulvaney because of all the accolades and fucking sponsorship deals that asshole gets? You don't think kids want to be like that? They don't choose it? It sounds pretty good to me. Holy shit. They would never choose that. Bullshit. Why would you want to be that? Why would you want to be a trans person when the governments are telling you that you can't play sports and you can't be yourself? The government's not telling you that. You can play sports. You just have to play it with the sex that you are. Holy shit. Hey, I see. Hi, JB. Tarai Deos, everybody. Oh, thanks, Tarai. Thanks. By the way, I don't know why this didn't pop up, but anyway, thank you, Tarai Deos, for sponsoring the show with some birthday bucks. Woohoo! Dropping at a 5 spot in the tip jar, who says, how is it legal for one state to legalize human trafficking? Well, that's the other part of it, see? That is actually, it's kind of unconstitutional as far as there's going to be a problem, because I know that Minnesota passed a couple laws similar to that surrounding states took all the way to the Supreme Court, in fact, and Minnesota lost in some of those cases. So the cases where they say, okay, so a child from our state, it's illegal to do something like regarding, what do you call it, child custody, right? And so they went to a state where the child custody laws were different, but you have to, the states have to defer to other states' laws in certain cases. So some of these laws are not going to fly if they get challenged in federal court. I don't think it's going to be a huge problem with these. So anyway, so she said, why would you want that? Why would you want to be a trans person when governments are telling you can't play sports and you can't be yourself? Titone said, according to the Denver Post, why would anybody want that? Nobody would want that. An increasing number of children are saying they are transgender. Reuters reported in 2021, some 42,000 children and teens were told by therapists that they have gender dysphoria. Almost triple the number were given this diagnosis than were given this diagnosis in 2017. So it's, again, especially in young girls, this is happening, and it has to be some form of social contagion. There's nothing natural about it. Okay. The bill could still face a legal challenge. The state assembly's nonpartisan council said last week that SB 188 violates a provision in Colorado's constitution barring bills from regulating more than one subject. That's probably true. And Colorado's Legislative Legal Service found that the bill improperly welds the terms reproductive health care and gender-affirming health care into one entity when they are actually separate. They are very different. Democrats say this was a technical issue they resolved in the amendment process, but Republicans say the constitutional problems persist and that the error points to a much larger problem. Anyway, so it's and it still hasn't been signed by the governor, although, let's see, it's expected to be sent to his desk for approval, along with 2 abortion bills that passed Saturday. Those bills would empower state officials to target crisis pregnancy centers for promoting alleged misinformation, oh, good God, about abortion, and force insurance plans to cover abortion without copays. Wow. So, oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing. And again, I don't even find, I don't think abortion should be illegal, but damn, they just want it to be everywhere. The other articles I'm not going to get to, the Biden administration shells out 6 figures to translate a gay dictionary to Spanish. The Biden administration is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer dollars to translate the homosaurus, a self-described vocabulary of LGBTQ plus terms that includes phrases such as anal fisting, jizz into Spanish, according to documents. Joe Biden's National Endowment for the Humanities in January announced a $350,000 grant, which will see the University of Washington create a Spanish language version of the Homosaurus, a dictionary which features a dinosaur standing under a rainbow as its logo, defines hundreds of terms and phrases relating to bisexuality, transgender, and intersex concepts, according to his website. Examples include anal fisting, which the Homosaurus defines as the sexual practice of inserting a fist into the anus, jizz, which it calls a slang term for semen, primarily used in the United States, and indigiqueer, a term used to describe the identity of people who are both indigenous and queer and view those identities as inherently related and interconnected. Oh, thank God. I couldn't wait for that. They're spending what? Oh. My God. The people who came up with the Homosaurus, did they sell any of this book? Did they sell the book? Does that mean they could probably translate it into Spanish without a $350,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities? Make it stop. Make it stop. Holy shit. I'm going to have to make it short on that one. Okay. And then there's an article on front page about changing your birth sex called The Emperor's New Clothes. I don't have time. And in RJ Media, or PJ Media, excuse me, this article, it's called When It's Come to Fighting for Our Culture, Courage is Contagious. So I think they're talking a little bit about how, you remember the NHL player who said he didn't want to wear the gay pride jersey in warm-ups, whatever? Well, there's been more than a few other NHL players, hockey players since then have said, that's not me. I have no reason to wear this. I'm not gay and I, don't care. And so now the National Hockey League is backing off on some of the gay pride hockey cases. Well, that took courage. That took some courage, right? So this is an article talking about how some people are actually starting to live out the courage of their convictions. And that article will be in the links too. And then finally on Twitter, this is Jordan Henry, who spoke out at Glendale Unified School Districts in Arizona. I think it was Glendale in Arizona. And speaking out against, again, this is more the trans sports thing. I don't have time, but I highly recommend you watch it. There's 2 videos, including one of the Kelly Kling, the assistant superintendent. Well, let's watch Kelly Kling. Let's listen to Kelly Kling. This is the superintendent of schools. Oh, Glendale, California, excuse me. Glendale, California Unified School District. So here's her thoughts on how on people, and watch what she laughs at here.
So this one family, it was a matter of, well, we have other schools. Which one would your child like to transfer to? And eventually they homeschool, which understandably.
Oh, she just thinks that's hilarious. She drove a family out of their school because of something. And this is a superintendent. She's proud and laughing that they drove a family out of their school district because.
Where I've seen the most resistance is with our coaches.
Our coaches.
And it's interesting because for them, I think once they interact with a student who's gender expansive or transgender,
gender expansive,
it takes the mystique away. And then they realize, oh, it's just a kid. Oh, it's just a boy. It's just a girl. I get it now.
Oh, is it?
But until they have that personal interaction, we have male coaches who are horrified at the thought of having a biological girl changing clothes in front of them.
Now, listen to what she says next, because we already know that male coaches who coach girls' teams generally don't go into the girls' locker room, right? They don't go where the girls are changing because but listen, she really poo-poos this. Listen.
The stigma attached to, abuse and, just having a male teacher around any female student in that circumstance.
Oh, the stigma? They shouldn't be worried about that stigma because they're worried about this because of the stigma of male coaches around female students. Now, which makes it almost sounds like, well, there shouldn't be a stigma to that. But then she continues she makes it better by what?
Is just scary for them.
Yeah, it should be.
And, it's one thing for me to keep saying, it's not a girl. It's not a girl.
Oh, is that how you do it?
It's
not a girl. Oh, okay.
You only have boys in the boys' locker room.
Really?
Until they arrive. Until they experience it and realize, oh, I only have boys in the locker room. Then that
helps.
As
long as you just say there's only boys in the locker room, that girl really doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. I'm sure the boys think that way too. All right, I got to go. I wish I'd had a palate cleanser. Someone asked for one and I don't have one. So you're stuck with that last thought. Anyway, I got to go. I'm really, really late. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Hit the like button before you go. Share the stream. Even after the stream, I'd appreciate it if you do that. If you can, thank you for the sponsor today at PDogNight.live, Terai Deos, Chicago Mike, Gunfox61 for all sponsoring the show today. You are great Americans. And Chicago Mike, you are the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thanks, everybody. Time to go. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.